All right, folks, it is October 12th, 2024, and in tonight's Saturday Night Live session, we are going to break down why I am still willing to call XRP a world reserve currency. I'm going to treat it on my balance sheet, and my investment thesis takes us to a world reserve currency status for XRP as a neutral bridge currency when the world needs exactly that. We're turning away from the US dollar, but we can't figure out what the solution is going to be, which is why even countries that are turning away from the US dollar still end up using the US dollar for trade with select partners. This is just laid out by India, announcing that they're trying to move away from the US dollar, but they're going to continue using it. But at the same time, we got to watch what currencies are going to make it. What is going to be the reserve? That's why in the thumbnail of tonight's video, I put XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, the cryptos. Let's have a conversation about the cryptos. Do any cryptos have a chance of being a world reserve currency? Only the Bitcoin bros are willing to come on out and defend Bitcoin and treat it as a world reserve currency. And that's fine. God bless them. God bless them. I would consider it a world reserve currency to an extent. How much traction will it get? How much market share will it get of reserve currency status? That's the conversation. And that's why in the thumbnail, I also put the dollar, the money sign. Excuse me. And I also put gold. Now, gold's an asset that we've already seen go to a new all-time high against the US dollar and many other major currencies. XRP, we're waiting for it to go to a new all-time high compared to the US dollar. You look at it, it's already broken out against other major currencies. But we got to ask ourselves, what is going to be the reserve of the new financial system? We need an answer. We need a solution for trade and for reserve. The US dollar has played that role in both categories, used in international trade and used as a reserve. Now we're seeing countries dump treasuries at a pace that we haven't seen since the great financial crisis. And we're seeing countries ditch the US dollar, tracked by a data point that we have now since 2014. The US dollar has lost about 10%, 9% to be exact, but I like to round up, use government math. Round up to about 10% over the past decade to make it easy for everybody to remember that one. When you're telling your friends and family and loved ones about tuning into my show here tonight, tapping that like button, sharing it out far and wide, and telling folks to get tapped in, but you're having a conversation with folks, not just about this economy, but with the dollars that you do stack, what the hell are you supposed to do with them? I mean, what are we stacking? You know, this is worth just as much, maybe even more, than a dollar bill, US dollar bill. This is Brad Garlinghouse. This right here is worth $31.70. My apologies. $31.70 is where we close out the week for silver. And for gold, it's up to $2,670 is where we close off, give or take a few bucks, against the US dollar. But we always have to ask the question, compared to what? What should we be doing with our money here today, right now? That's what we're going to be covering in tonight's episode. And I'm going to be showing you guys why. Why is the SEC involved in the futures contracts for Ethereum, for XRP? I've been covering this over the past couple episodes. We now have a company, Binomial Exchange, which is suing the SEC over the right to sell an XRP futures contract. Now, I was doing research before tonight's live show, and this is what I was looking up, is whether or not futures are deemed to be an investment contract, or if they are exclusively under the jurisdiction of the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, because they're a derivative. A future is a derivative of the underlying asset. This is what I found, is that for security futures, the security and the SEC and the CFTC, they come together. They sing Kumbaya, and they save American investors, and they protect us all. And we feel so warm and fuzzy inside when we make our investments. Now, I'm being dramatic, but you guys get my point. The CFTC and the SEC get together and collaborate when it comes to securities futures. When it comes to commodities futures, they are under the sole jurisdiction of the CFTC. Now, if we know that XRP is not a security, why is the SEC trying to threaten and sue, potentially, Binomial Exchange over their futures contract, right? This is a derivative of the underlying asset, which is not a security. So this should not be a joint venture. This is directly under the CFTC. But here's what I'm going to show you in tonight's episode, folks. For Ethereum, for Bitcoin, why did they get the sign off from the SEC on their futures contracts? If Bitcoin and Ethereum aren't securities, why are they getting the sign off from the SEC on those products? Now, you could say potentially with the Bitcoin, the spot Bitcoin ETFs, right? They had to register with the SEC. You have an investment contract. And so maybe you could make the argument that's why the SEC had to get a sign off on that, is because it's a futures contract of the spot ETF. The spot ETF is a derivative of a Wall Street product derivative, which is what this whole game is not about you holding this stuff yourself and being self-sufficient and being reliant. It's about holding a Wall Street product. And the battle over who's going to have jurisdiction over crypto is right now for all to see. And I just asked a simple question. Why is the SEC trying to get involved in the XRP futures when they know, as a matter of law, that XRP in and of itself is not a security? And they've already outlined, well, they didn't go to appeal that in their interlocutory appeal. We're still waiting to see what they're going to actually be appealing when their official appeal gets filed. Where do they get off thinking that they have jurisdiction over an XRP futures contract? But apparently, as it comes out in today's news, they've delayed their decisions on the Ethereum futures contracts. More on that later. I want to get started here. I got a lot to cover, a lot to share here with you guys here tonight. I appreciate you for stopping by. Saturday night live session. Hope you're enjoying yourself out there. I know we went to with the family, did the pumpkin patch for the second time, because why wouldn't we have a month of a month of October? Why would it not be filled with the fall festivities with the family, of course, right? And I joke, but it's an absolute pleasure and a blessing. Absolutely gorgeous fall day out here today. Absolutely blessed. But despite that fact, we're going to continue to show up every single day for you guys because we know how real this fight is and what they're coming for. This is all about world reserve currency status, which is why I'm going to be bringing that back up in tonight's title, tonight's video. Let's get into it. XRP versus Bitcoin versus Ethereum versus gold versus the US dollar. Starting off here, you guys take a look at it. This is Bitcoin back down below 63,000. We were up over the past 2 days, back above 63,000. But we're going to be watching Bitcoin here closely because it has started, it has started a new trend here. See, it was setting lower highs and lower lows until we finally got the breakout here. We finally caught this resistance. We broke up here to a new higher high. We broke through. I said we got to break through this level right here. We did. We went all the way up to, what was that? Sorry, let me fix my chart. 66.5. We had to break 62, we had to break 65. My apologies. And we did. We went up to 66.5. That's fantastic. We come back down here, and this was actually a healthy correction back down to 59,000. So now we are setting higher highs and higher lows. We have flipped the trend now for Bitcoin, showing a little bit of strength. But you know how worried I am about the broader black swan events that are looming. Roll the dice. Pick your poison. What's the black swan event going to be? I'm just staying liquid and hedged in the meantime. XRP at 53.6 went up to 54 cents right now, just chopping sideways. Great structure on XRP, by the way. And in fact, when you look at many of these other cryptocurrencies, they're starting to get to levels that do look attractive to me. XLM back down to 9 cents. You got assets like Flare back down to a penny and a half. You got big time risk exposure if we do get that black swan that I'm talking about. But these assets are getting to levels that are very attractive. And when I look at this conversation, what should we be investing in right now? Should I invest in gold while it's at all-time high? Should I be in cash? Should I look at these cryptocurrencies? And for me, the best opportunity across the board is these cryptos, where I look at Flare, I look at others. To go to the previous all-time high, you're talking about 5, 10x, 20x opportunity. Not even going and setting a new all-time high. Not even anything crazy happening other than just a regular bull run where these assets are going to receive a little bit of liquidity. They're, strong enough cryptos with a good enough story to bring in some liquidity during this bull run and go up to a previous all-time high. Not even do anything spectacular or crazy, but even just going back to their all-time high, I'm looking at 5, 10, and 20x opportunities. This is why I get so excited about the crypto opportunity. Do I see that potential in silver over the next 5, 10, 20 years? Well, it's just a matter of how quickly do they devalue the dollar. That math can be done to get us to those levels on silver, absolutely. When I look at silver going there next year, it'd have to be a hyperinflation like we haven't seen. When I look at cryptocurrency doing a 5 and 10x for next year, that's just going to be a regular bull run. That's just the next wave of this adoption that is happening faster than the internet. Now, I want to get right on into this, though, because we got some current events to talk about here. Kamala just got the Kramer kiss of death, saying, I don't see how Trump wins. Now, this is the Kamala campaign right now. They got Timmy Walls out here. I don't know where he's hunting at, but this is Timmy Walls out hunting today, struggling to load his shotgun, eventually figured it out. Now, as I take a sip of my adult beverage that happens to be a light, cheap beer, I want to make a comment on this. Because Kamala, the other night, I forget who she was on. I forget these, O'Brien or one of these guys, these late night talk show guys, right? And she has a Miller Lite with him, right? And today we see Timmy Walls out here trying to load a shotgun and doing a little pheasant hunt. And I just want to ask you guys if these gimmicks are working on you, as far as these folks trying to relate to us common folks. When you see Timmy out here fiddling with this shotgun, when you see Kamala out here drinking a Miller High Life, you know, I'm all for cheap light beer, especially while XRP hasn't seen significant price appreciation and we're waiting for the bull run. When we hit some of these targets, I might pop a little bottle of champagne. For now, cheap light beer or maybe some cheaper wine. You know, I might indulge and spend 15 to 20 bucks on a bottle, right? So I get it. I'm glad that they're trying, but is it landing with you? Because it's completely missing with me. And don't be concerned, don't be worried if you're worried about me picking on the Democrats. If you're worried about me picking on Timmy, I'm going to pick on whoever the heck is running the crypto campaign for Donald Trump here as well. Because this is where we're at in the election cycle. Kamala's drinking cheap beer out of a can with Conan or whoever it was. I forget his name. These guys have fallen off so hard. And we got Timmy Walls out doing a pheasant hunt. I love myself a good pheasant hunt. Absolutely. Is it landing with you? Because what we're seeing with Trump is similar tactics. He's been all over the crypto community. And I like what I'm hearing in regards to what he's saying in regards to cryptocurrency and having a conversation about it. What I get from Kamala is, trust me, bro. And we did get a Chris Larson donation to her campaign, the first official crypto donation. Who's it from? Ripple. In what currency? XRP. Well, great marketing by Chris and Team Ripple. Well done. Just like they donated to Trump as well. But I am actually really worried, and you guys saw that I've already been critical with the Trump campaign and whoever the hell is running it in regards to crypto. Whoever's running the crypto campaign, I think we need to have a reevaluation of what we're doing here, because I think that this is a very risky move. Donald Trump tweets out World Liberty Fi, which is their little token. It's not going to be Trump token. I don't know what it's going to be called. And please watch out for scammers, because the scammers are going to be coming out of the woodworks to try to take your money, robbing you, impersonating this Trump coin. World Liberty Financial token sale going live on Tuesday morning. Now, I better put out the caveat that this is not investment advice. This is not a sponsorship. I do not work with the Trump campaign, and I'm not saying to buy this token. I'm actually being very critical that the Trump campaign thinks that they need to get involved in this project and endorse this project. Now, this is what they're saying. October 15th, token sale goes live. This is your chance to help shape the future of finance. Be there on Monday, October 14th at 8 a.m. Eastern for an exclusive spaces to learn more. Join the whitelist today and be ready for Tuesday. I have no affiliation. This is not financial advice. I actually think that this is a risky move for the Trump campaign. What I do like to see, though, is that this is similar to Chris Larson donating to the Kamala campaign, right? How do you force the issue? How do you force disclosure of XRP? Well, you donate it to the administration that's been launching an attack against you, who's made you spend $200 million battling this SEC, and who has now filed an appeal against you. You force a conversation because of just how ironic it is that you would donate to this campaign, Chris Larson, right? In similar fashion, what is Trump doing by having a crypto conversation? Is he's forcing the issue, he's exposing the SEC, because where the SEC doesn't have jurisdiction is over this token in and of itself. And that's what kills them. Where they will have jurisdiction is if investment contracts are done. And I don't know how they're selling this token. I don't know what promises they're making. But especially when you get into DeFi, you're talking about the expectations of profit based off the efforts of others in many cases, which is where the SEC is going to be able to come in and have their jurisdictions. They're going to be able to stretch their tentacles over parts of this space. But as I alluded to earlier, where they don't have jurisdiction is over XRP or whatever token this is that Trump's endorsed here. The SEC does not have jurisdiction over these tokens in and of themselves. Now, imagine this. The SEC goes after Trump and this company, World Liberty Financial, for this, token. They may end up using the Ripple case as precedent. You see how this works out? Because now you're watching as many other crypto cases, they're starting to use the Ripple case in their defense. We're basically seeing it in every major crypto lawsuit for the ones that'll actually fight. A lot of these projects will just turn around, bend over, take it from the SEC, get smacked up, pay their fine, shut their doors, and move on to their next venture. Not many of these projects or people have a backbone and have the you-know-what to actually fight, or the money, because the SEC will beat you up, but have the money to put up a fight against the SEC like Ripple and a few of the other exchanges. It's basically Ripple and then exchanges are the ones that actually have the money to be able to put up a fight against the SEC. What are they all citing? Now they're all citing the Ripple case. How do you force disclosure? You donate XRP to Kamala. How do you force disclosure? How do you force a conversation? Have an icebreaker. Trump endorses some DeFi project here. Who knows what it is? You guys have heard me from the very beginning. I've been critical of this. So I'm critical of Kamala drinking light beer out of a can. Nothing against light beer. God bless it. I'm critical of Timmy Walls not being able to load up his shotgun. All for it. But let's figure it out here, Timmy. I'm all for Trump having a crypto conversation, but this is a risky one. But I believe that Trump is surrounded by some of the best legal advisors, and his team, I think, is going to keep him out of trouble. And it's going to be very, very interesting to watch, because the SEC, that's all they would wish to do, would be able to bring a case against Trump. Look how many other cases they've brought against him, whether they have a case or not, whether their cases get turned down in the courts or not. Now, of course, a lot of people talk about other cases with Trump. But our SEC, they're willing to go after companies like Ripple and everybody else that's done things the right way. Covered it in this morning's video. Not going to cover it more in depth here because I already did. But the point being, Chris is forcing this issue to go viral. This is CNBC. The first crypto donation to Kamala. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right for you guys out here tonight. Appreciate you for stopping by. The first crypto donation to Kamala. Who's it from? What company? One of the co-founders of Ripple. It's actually not, it's not an endorsement from Ripple. I better be careful with my words here. This is an endorsement from Chris Larson, a co-founder of Ripple. Now he serves as a board of director. I don't know if he's in the chairman right now. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments down below. Is Chris in the chairman position? We know he's on the board of directors. Is Chris in the chairman role? How do you force the issue? You donate Kamala, some XRP, what her administration has fought, what her administration wants to resist. This is how you force disclosure. And what's happening now, folks, is I'm about to show you in the next couple slides here. Why does the SEC think that they have jurisdiction over XRP, even though they've already been turned down in the courts? Are they going to appeal? Or in their appeal, are they going to try to say that XRP is once again an investment contract wherever it's sold, even though that outline or that was clearly outlined by Judge Torres? Are they going to try to appeal on that fact? When it comes to the SEC, they are getting involved and they are delaying their decision on a spot Ethereum ETF again, moving the deadline from October 19th to December 3rd. Now, as I've always been saying, even though they approve the spot Ethereum ETFs, or they're set to here, right? Why are they not willing to come on out? How can anybody launch one of these products when you don't know what the underlying asset is? Is it a commodity, a currency, a trading strategy? What is this ETF made of? Everybody has to disclose this. And Gary Gensler preaches disclosures. We need free and fair disclosures. How can you do that when the agency itself has to delay a decision on spot Ethereum ETFs again, and they can't just come out and say whether or not Ethereum is a security in and of itself? Now, they wouldn't dare mention or talk about the XRP loss. Now, why has nobody on CNBC, all these talking head pundits, why has nobody asked Gary Gensler directly, what happened in this Ripple lawsuit, Gary? Judge Torres specifically said, let me read the quote. The XRP in and of itself does not embody an investment contract. What happened, Gary? Why has nobody in financial media asked him that question? He's made appearances. He still shows up, slithering around in his little suit, little guy, little Gary, still showing up. Why has nobody asked him directly what happened? Well, probably because they know the answer. That one's off limits. When Gary Gensler and the SEC agree to the presentation, or the public appearance, I should say, that's clearly written out. Do not mention the Ripple case. Right? And Gary Gensler already has a script. If it does get brought up, I can't speak on any one crypto individually. That's his answer every single time. And that's how these politicians, that's how these bureaucrats, that's how these do-nothing politicians and bureaucrats live. They have the same 6 answers for every single question that you have. You try to hold them accountable. You try to ask them a direct question. They have the same 6 different answers or talking points. And they never answer anything directly. The SEC delaying its decision on the spot Ethereum ETFs again, moving the deadline from October 19th to December 3rd. Here's the article from Cointelegraph. The United States SEC has once again postponed this ruling, according to an October 11th filing. The deadline's being pushed back from October 19th to December 3rd. Now, in August, the CBOE filed with the SEC requesting authorization to list options on 9 ETFs, including BlackRock's iShare Ethereum Trust ETF, Fidelity Ethereum Fund, Grayscale Ethereum Trust, and Grayscale Mini Ethereum Trust, among others. In September, the SEC delayed a similar proposed rule change from NASDAQ's electronic exchange requesting a green light to list options on iShares Ethereum Trust. On September 20th, the SEC authorized NASDAQ to list options tied to BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. That's the IBIT. The Bitcoin options are awaiting final sign-offs from the Commodities Futures Trading Commission and the Options Clearing Corporations, the OCC. Go figure, we got to go get another regulator involved. And now for crypto, what are we going to do? Folks talk about maybe a new asset class, a new classification of assets for crypto digital assets. The one thing that I get worried about is another government agency, right? But maybe it is necessary. One thing's for certain, a little bit of clarity from the legislators would help on what these assets are in and of themselves. Options on Bitcoin ETFs are likely to launch in the United States by the first quarter of 2025, according to James Seyfert, a Bloomberg intelligence analyst. Now, what gets interesting about this conversation is about this lawsuit that's been filed here by Bitnomial and the difference between XRP and Ethereum and Bitcoin. The SEC is determined to overstep their statutory authority and classify XRP futures and other digital asset futures as securities futures. These products have oversight from the CFTC, but the SEC's litigation keeps U.S. traders a step behind global counterparts. Now, what's interesting about this is I don't believe that this is a futures contract for the ETF. So maybe this is why they're not having to deal with the SEC, even though the SEC is threatening them. Because this is not an ETF futures contract. This is a futures contract on the underlying asset itself. Maybe this is why these Ethereum ETF futures do need to register with the SEC and get approval from the SEC versus these options, which are basically just an option of the underlying asset. We don't have any XRP ETPs yet. In the XRP ETP disclosures, Bitwise, Canary are the first two, BlackRock and others on the way. They can provide the disclosure, which hopefully will make Gary Gensler very happy, might make him a little butthurt. The XRP in and of itself is not a security as a matter of law. That's a disclosure that can be made for XRP ETPs and XRP ETPs only. A disclosure can be made for Bitcoin ETPs that says we have a speech from Bill Hinman. We have statements and opinions shared by Gary Gensler and other commissioners and other lawyers. We have opinions. We do not have a court ruling, right? We do not have a legislation. We don't have law passed classifying these digital assets, but we have opinion about Bitcoin. We have opinion about Ethereum. The only currency that has law behind it, with not just this most recent case, but folks forget about the 2015 settlement with FinCEN and the Treasury. XRP deemed as a virtual currency in that settlement. So we have green light as a virtual currency from the Treasury and FinCEN. And then we have a rejection from the courts as a matter of law that it's not a security in and of itself. So we can check the SEC off jurisdiction over XRP in and of itself or XRP futures, which is exactly why I am so happy to see that this lawsuit is coming from Bitnomial. Now, Brad Garlinghouse responds, a new low for a renegade agency many thought couldn't sink further. The SEC now believes it can operate above the law, ignoring a court's ruling that XRP isn't a security. Team Ripple will be watching closely and weighing our options to hold the SEC accountable. This is where Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple, they could sign on as amicus curiae, just like John Deaton did with the 75,000 plus XRP holders with the Ripple lawsuit. You can become a friend of the court. Or maybe Ripple is going to file a countersuit when this story's all said and done and when Ripple has to end up appealing. At this point, I hope that we just go the whole way. If we have to go to the Supreme Court and it takes till 2027, I will be holding my red folder in the air till 2027 until the Supreme Court, if that's what it takes. And furthermore, just like Brad Garlinghouse, we are watching to see how this XRP story plays out. The SEC is still trying to hinder XRP adoption and growth and XRP as a world reserve currency. They're still trying to hinder it because they've appealed this lawsuit. And we know that they're threatening to sue over a futures contract that is not even for an ETP or an ETF. A futures contract for XRP in and of itself, an asset that's not a security. This is what we're up against, is the SEC still trying to hold back XRP by any means possible. Not just this SEC versus Ripple lawsuit and the appeal that they just filed, but also trying to hinder the futures contracts that make a healthy market, bring assets into price discovery, bring more liquidity, that make the spot ETPs more safe. This is what they want. They say, you need to have a futures market before we can approve the spot ETF. Why? Is that completely backwards? Yes. But everything our SEC does is completely backwards, right? You know, a futures market, yes, it does bring more liquidity, price discovery, and makes a healthier market. But why would it hinder signing off on a spot ETF? Hey, guys, I'm going to launch an ETF backed by physical silver. Here's my disclosure. I have silver here. As you know, more folks invest in the ETF, we will hold more silver. Here's where we're going to hold it. We're going to disclose everything with monthly attestations. You send it off, you get it approved. Why do you need a futures contract for any of this? It's just one more way where the SEC can, maintain control over this asset XRP until it finally gets set free, until they can no longer hold it back. Remember, they're literally going as far as trying to say that stable coins are securities. Thank goodness this is about to end. Not only are we about to smack them up and defeat the SEC in the courts once again, this is Jeremy Allaire responding to Dante Disparte. Both these guys are from Circle. Jeremy's the CEO. Dante is the chief strategy officer, head of policy. And what's happening right now, we are closing in on a bill that can pass both chambers and reach the president's desk in December. What a victory for the U.S. to take the dollar forward into the age of the internet. And we're looking at a stablecoin bill right now. For too long, the benefits and promise of stablecoins have been hindered by a lack of legal clarity. Well, it's not just stablecoins, it's the entire space. It's our entire capital markets and the corruption from the SEC, if you really want to go down that road. But sure, let's focus on stablecoins and focus on one issue at a time. We move so slow here in the United States that let's just take it one issue at a time. Let's just focus on stablecoins. Sure. My new draft legislation builds off Patrick McHenry's work and establishes the framework necessary to unlock this technology's potential to benefit Americans. If you want to save the US dollar, we need stablecoin legislation now. Remember, the SEC wants to go as far as to say that these are investment contracts. Hopefully this bill, I haven't read it yet, provides clarity, at least on stablecoins. The rest of the space, we're still going to be battling it out in the courts. That's what it takes. And John Deaton right here retweeting an article from townhall.com. It's an opinion editorial piece about Gary Gensler has to go, is what the title of it is. It says, quote, SEC needs to be led by people without conflicts of interest or ideological biases who put retail investors first. Does Gary Gensler fit that mold? John says, I'm proud my pro bono efforts in the Ripple case helped expose the massive conflicts of interest at the SEC, and that combined with a community here in the XRP community, and a community that even expanded outside of the XRP community with folks like Empower Oversight. These are people that don't hold XRP, that are filing lawsuits and Freedom of Information Act requests to be able to help us expose what's taking place at our SEC. God bless John Deaton. God bless Fruition Productions for this XRP documentary that's about to come out next month. God bless all of the sleuths in this community that have been exposing this the whole way through. Last week, we got to expose the Director of Enforcement, Goober. His name's Gerber Grawal, but we've given him the nickname of Goober. He's a silly guy, to put it nicely. Conflicts of interest, absolutely. Ideological biases, 1,000%. And what are we asking for? We just want a level playing field. That's it. This story's going viral. Right now, this is a town hall article. You're seeing it in mainstream crypto. You're seeing appearances on Fox Business. Soon you'll be seeing and why? I actually asked the question, why? It's time for Chris Larson to go on MSNBC and CNN. They should be calling him up right away. I'm expecting that conversation to take place here soon. If not, it's a completely missed opportunity from Ripple. We need to make it happen. Just like I said, with Chris Larson donating XRP to Kamala, how do you force disclosure of XRP? You do one of the most ironic moves in political contributions ever. You donate what the SEC and her administration wants to call an unregistered investment contract, a security. You donate it to her campaign. Hey, you want 1.6 million of these, equivalent to $1 million US today? Let's have ourselves a good time. How do you force disclosure of XRP? How do you force a conversation? Or maybe we don't have to force it. I find that the Bitcoin bros kind of force it sometimes. Right? They want to like shove it down your throat. How do we have a conversation about XRP as a world reserve currency? How do we get to see XRP's utility actually grow when this is what we're up against? Now, final point that I'm going to make here before I open this up for Q&A is one would think that this whole world is a stage. The fact that we're having to go through this appeal, the fact that Bitnomial Exchange is getting threatened by the SEC for an XRP futures contract, even though they've lost in the courts. One would think that all the world's a stage, considering this is the trials and tribulations that the XRP asset and community and Ripple are having to go through. When you consider just how connected Ripple really is, it's not just Chris Larson donating to Kamala. It's Rosie Rios, Michael Barr, Fed, U.S. Treasury, IMF, World Economic Forum, and other key financial institutions. Shout out to Ito Farina for sharing this one. I've seen this illustration. Many of you guys have seen this illustration, but I bring it up and I title it because Ito gave me a little bit of inspiration here tonight. He says the only possible outcome is XRP as a world reserve currency. The only possible outcome. I like what Ito's saying right there. That's bold. Similar to what Ripple said in 2017. Bold yet simple. Quote, "We remain steadfast, sticking to our goal, our simple goal of making XRP a world reserve digital currency." Is it a digital currency? Yes. Is it ready to be a world reserve currency in trade? Absolutely. That's the major use case for it. Cross-border payments along with trading other forms of value. Denominated in XRP, XRP being the neutral bridge currency. Stablecoins, CBDCs, any form of tokenized value on the XRP ledger, 3 to 5 seconds, at no cost. It's set up better for trade than almost any other ledger. And then as a reserve, putting it on your balance sheet and holding that as a reserve. Ripple's doing it. I'm doing it. I'm guilty. There's folks that think that we're crazy for calling XRP a world reserve currency. Call us whatever you want. They call us crazy. They call us a cult. You can't say that we're not consistent. You can't say that we didn't show up when times got tough. You can't say that we're not fighting to not just, make XRP something special, realize its true potential, build out a level playing field, new financial system, and make a little bit of money in the process. We're trying to save our country. We're trying to save our world. It's not just XRP. As I titled this episode tonight, XRP World Reserve Currency, I believe that XRP is ready to be one of a few different reserves in this new financial system. There can be dozens of reserves, as a matter of fact. Somebody could make a reserve coin that is a reserve of memes. It's a meme coin. It's a reserve token that's backed by memes. I don't know. Anything can be a reserve currency. We're still using the US dollar despite the devaluation of the US dollar and the arithmetic that we look at in front of us of 33 trillion of national debt on top of over 100 trillion of unfunded liabilities with continued record debt. And we're still all running around for those fiat funny money dollars. So who's this joke really on? It's on us. And it's on us to figure out what to invest in with our hard-earned dollars, whatever currency you do work for. Until we get to the point of actually being able to use these currencies in direct transactions every single day, we need to stack these with the fiat funny money that we're earning today as we wait for the new financial system to get here. I think that gold is playing a role. Gold's already shown you it's a reserve. That's why it's gone to all-time high, and there's still buyers. I was talking about this community member in our Discord group asked about, gold versus, XRP. And we had a really good conversation about there's not many buyers of XRP at $5 and $10 in an environment where there's no utility for XRP, where folks aren't actively using XRP in a business use case that would justify them buying it at $5 and $10. There's not many speculators that are waiting to buy XRP at $5 and $10. Gold went to an all-time high at $2,000. There was buyers, record amount of buyers. Gold has gone from 2,000 to 2,100 to 2,200 to 23 to 20. Do you get my point? We're at 2,700. There's still buyers. There's still a record amount of central bank buying. When we get the numbers from 2024, we will see if they're still buying gold at a record pace that they haven't done in 50 plus years since the last currency reset. Go figure. Since the last time we figured out what was going to be the reserve, which was a transition to a petrodollar. The dollar wasn't backed by gold, but the dollar was going to be backed by the petrodollar and the deals, U.S. dollars traded for oil, and the largest military known to man. Now, thankfully for the United States, we still have the largest military known to man. Not going to get into that conversation about how thinly we have been spread. Our empire has been spread, but you guys already know that we're broke, we're bust, and we can no longer cut that check. So we're going to have to bring it back home somewhere. We're going to have to rein this program back in somewhere. And we're going to have to do something to save the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency. I was just listening to Grant Cardone. He gave about a 4-minute speech at the Trump rally today in Coachella, California. Now, the estimates coming in right now are for 100,000. Well over 50,000. Some folks are saying 100,000. Your network is your net worth. Peaky, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. 1,000%. That's why I talk about XRP's competitive advantage. I think that our community, those of you that are listening to me tonight, I think that we have a competitive advantage just with how we're tapped in. We've been seeing these things before they come. Look at gold. This is part of our thesis. Gold, that gold train is still moving. There's still momentum. And there's still buyers. Now, the point that I was making is that right now there's still buyers of gold. Will there be buyers of XRP at new all-time high? Not as many. And this is why I've always warned about XRP in this bull run before we get to utility. While we're still in a speculative environment, there's not going to be a large tranche of buyers, retail buyers especially. There's not a large tranche of retail buyers waiting at $5 and $10 XRP. There's not a large tranche of retail buyers at $100,000 Bitcoin, which is why I don't think that we see $200,000 Bitcoin this bull run like some of the Bitcoin bulls throw out there. Like, we have to be real. And when we have this conversation about a reserve of the new financial system, when we look at these assets, there's still buyers of gold at all-time high. I was just telling my Discord this morning in our weekly call, I didn't want to buy gold at 2,000 because it was an all-time high. I don't like buying assets at all-time high, right? Typically, that's not a good trading strategy. That's not a good investment strategy. You're going to see a correction or some sort of pullback when an asset is at a new all-time high. But we are just getting started with the next wave of devaluation as I think that inflation is going to come back. I didn't want to buy gold at 2,000. I didn't want to buy it at 2,200. I didn't want to buy it at 2,400. I don't want to buy it now at 2,670. after it just peaked out here at 2,700. And I'm not going to want to buy it at 28, 29, maybe even 3,000, where it looks like it might be heading. Even before the end of this year, Jim Rickards has a crazy gold prediction for next year, talking about $15,000 gold next year. I mean, you think that the crypto bros have some crazy predictions. Us in the XRP community have some crazy predictions. Jim Rickards talking about $15,000 per ounce gold. So am I going to miss the gold train? Maybe. It's something that I consider. Am I going to miss the XRP train? Absolutely not. We are stacked and loaded on that train. Am I going to miss the silver train? No. And the other point to consider is that if you've been invested in gold, right, how much more do you see for gold in the next year or two? If you need capital now, if you need to get liquid now, right, what investments are we going to take profit on over the next year or two? Many of us overinvested in crypto. Many of us overinvested in real estate, in precious metals, right? All these assets are moving at different times. And so this is why you got to rotate capital. Gold's at all-time high. Is now time to take profit? I don't know if you've been buying gold, in the hundreds, under $1,000, and you've been holding on to that. And, this is the thing, is that nobody wants to sell these assets, but what's happening is the economy isn't what they're telling us it is. The stock market just perfectly, to a T, to the exact day, followed what the stock market did in 2007. New top July 16th, Fed rate cut of 50 basis points on September 18th, new all-time high October 9th, top out October 11th, and that's where we closed up the week on Friday. That's where we closed up on yesterday. Where are we going to open up on Monday? Where do we go from here? Was that it? To the day in 2007, that's exactly what we just followed. If we follow 2007, it's a 57% great financial crisis. As I've always said, as I've been saying here, this is a mix, though. This is a mix of great financial crisis with dot-com bubble. It's a global margin call. Why is this time different? Why is this time worse? It's a global margin call. It's not just real estate debt that's getting margin called. It's going to, it's not just a mortgage-backed security financial crisis. It's a margin call on a completely over-leveraged system with all sorts of different financial products, including the crypto ETFs that we talked about here today, including the futures contracts that we talked about here tonight. Dennis, I see you also gave us a super chat here. I think it's likely Ripple went to binomial encouraging suit because it puts pressure on the SEC to drop appeal against Ripple. That's a good point right there. I think that Ripple said that they're watching closely. They're ready to come support. Absolutely. They're watching closely. We're going to see what happens here. But to bring this full circle, before I go into Q&A, guys, what is XRP versus what is Bitcoin versus what is Ethereum? What's the opportunity on gold and silver? Can gold 5 or 10x by next year? Well, Jim Rickards thinks that it can do a 5x, right? From $3,000 to $15,000, that's a 5x, right? And obviously gold was at a much lower price to start this year too. So I'm just rounding off and laying out some simple math for everybody here tonight. I'm looking for 5 and 10 baggers between now and next year. A liquidity flow is coming back in, just like we're seeing in China right now. Every single week here for the past 3 weeks, China's been announcing new stimulus programs, rewriting debt. Hey, everybody that had mortgages with this, commercial bank in China, most of them are state-backed. Your interest rate on your mortgage just dropped by 1 full percent. Merry Christmas. Happy Chinese New Year. They just celebrated that. Happy Chinese New Year. Everybody's interest rate on their mortgage just dropped by 1%. Hundreds of billions of stimulus that's being announced. That's what's coming here in the United States of America. No matter who gets elected, no matter what happens. And in fact, I believe that they need a bigger crisis, or we're in the middle of a bigger crisis, I should say. So they need a bigger solution. What happened in 2020, some said was a simulation, one of many tests. We're here in 2024, find ourselves in another interesting situation, to put it lightly and nicely and politically correct. We find ourselves in a very interesting election cycle. And so right now, I'm looking at the cash that I got that's ready to deploy. That makes me comfy at night, along with my other prepping, along with a Second Amendment, along with a little garden, and my family's been blessed with health. And that's all I pray for. That's great. When it comes to investments, I look at my cash, and that helps me sleep at night. When I look at my precious metals, that's a nice hedge that helps me sleep at night. When I'm on the edge of my seat getting excited about investment opportunities, Bitcoin does not turn me on. Ethereum does not get me going either. Now, this is just my personal preference, and I'm just, letting you guys know. When I talk about XRP, it really makes a case as a reserve currency, as I title this episode tonight. It's not just an ordinary crypto. Ripple's not just an ordinary company. When I look at gold, can it 5 or 10x by next year? I don't see it. Jim Rickards does, and I respect Jim Rickards a lot. And I don't rule it out. We could go full Weimar Republic. We could go Argentina. I mean, look at modern times right now. There's many currencies around the world that are running 30, 40, 60, 70% inflation year over year. Makes our 2 and 3% CPI lie look like a walk in the park when these countries are facing 70% inflation. Now, silver, can it 5x by next year? Right, you're talking going to $150 silver. I think that silver can go to new all-time highs, $50 to $100 by next year. And for those of us that bought silver under $30 per ounce, we'd be catching a 4x when we bought at 25 and it goes to 100. So that's a nice little move. It's a nice little hedge. But I really don't plan on selling too much of my silver at those prices, actually. I'm holding my silver as a long-term hold, much longer duration. When I look at where my 5 and 10 baggers are going to come by next year, I think that you have some private equity opportunities to consider if you guys are accredited and can get access to private equity. I think that IPOs and the general private, credit market has tightened up here lately. So IPOs have slowed down and the hype hasn't really been there. I think that that's going to be coming back. So I think that you could catch some 5 and 10 baggers there in the private markets, but that's limited. Not everybody can get access to that. What everybody can get access to right now, though, is crypto opportunities. There are 5 and 10 baggers by next year. Now, you guys can let me know where you think you're going to get, your 5 or 10 bagger by next year. That's what I'm doing with the offensive side of my portfolio. When it comes to my investments, is the 5 and 10 baggers for me are going to come from crypto, and I could maybe see a 5 bagger from silver in the next couple years. And then I'm hedged with cash. I said that I was hedged because of the SEC could appeal. That happened. I said I was hedged because World War III could escalate. That continues to happen. I've also laid out about another dozen reasons, but it just boils down to it's insurance, it's liquidity. In times of uncertainty, despite us losing 10% of the world reserve currency status over the past decade, there's still a lot of people that accept US dollars. And what's happening now is platforms like Uphold and others are offering you 4 or 5% on your cash accounts or your US dollar, basically USDT or USDC or here soon RLUSD. When you can earn 4 or 5% yield on your stablecoin with no restrictions, no lockup, and full complete liquidity to invest into your cryptocurrency investments, this is where I'm parking liquidity right now. Physical cash, cash in the bank, and that US dollar account on Uphold. If you guys are, many of you guys already have access to Uphold, you can find exchanges that have better fees. I just respect Uphold for allowing me to buy this dang asset at a time when I had limited options here in the United States of America. That's why Uphold holds some respect from me, despite some issues, despite their fees being higher. Their platform is anything to anything. They got me XRP in a time when I needed it most. So once again, the same programs are being rolled out on Coinbase, on other exchanges. It's just a matter of not overextending. Right? I'm not going to bet the farm. If you're the type that has M's in the bank account, well, I'm not putting more than anything that's not FDIC insured in any one bank account. So that'd be $250,000 for your standard bank account. If you have more than that, you can get a little bit more insurance. Uphold is touting up to $2 million of FDIC insurance. Now, last time I mentioned this, somebody mentioned that the FDIC is in trouble. I know. Trust me, I know. Which is why I have physical cash, which is why I have physical silver, which is why I have crypto in cold storage, is because I want utility with no counterparty risk at all. I don't have to rely on anybody, any exchange. I don't even have to rely for the lights or the internet to be on for this. This is why I have just a little bit of this. And I continue to stack more. When silver goes on sale, we just stack more. When these assets like XRP go on sale, I just stack more. These other altcoins that I'm looking at right now, they're already at attractive levels. The risky thing about these is if we get the broader correction that I'm expecting to come in here, correction before the election, or the other moment in time where I could see it happening would be between the election and the inauguration. In fact, I just worry about our economy between now and next spring. We have a winter to go through. And if these folks have it their way, it'll be another dark winter. You guys know what I'm talking about. You know what we're up against. If they have it their way, it'll be another dark winter. I worry about our economy. I worry about our markets between now and spring, no matter who gets elected or selected. Hedged with cash, focused on my business and making sure that my income is going to stay consistent. Focused on family, making sure that everybody's prepared, right? Nothing about this is going to be easy, but I believe that our community is called to be a part of rolling out a new financial system and a level playing field. I'm speaking to everybody listening to me tonight that's outside of the United States included, the international audience. Let me know where you guys are coming in from the chat tonight. And then let's get to some Q&A. This is bigger than XRP. This is a sound money movement. These are what are going to be the world reserve currencies. If Bitcoin's going to get a piece of that, which I do think it will, that's okay. I give credit to Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin is going to be a reserve. Is Ethereum going to be a reserve? It could. The problem that I see with Ethereum is that there's 1,000 different competitors to Ethereum. Ethereum just keeps on losing market share to their layer 2s and other layer 1 blockchains that are better. So you guys let me know in the comments down below which cryptos, which opportunities. Do you guys have a similar way of thinking about these opportunities and where we're at in these markets right now? And then as far as reserves, what are they going to be? I think that you're going to see tokenized oil, tokenized resources and commodities of all sorts. And those will also be reserves as well. As this gets easier to track, trace, and put onto a distributed ledger technology, it'll be easier to show proof of reserves, and it'll be easier and more accessible for actually tokenizing one's reserves to back a currency. I don't think that these countries really want to hold themselves to, peg their currencies, but I think that they're going to try to show proof of reserves to gain legitimacy and trust. As we've seen in Zimbabwe, nobody trusts them. Nobody trusts the government. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to roll out a gold-backed currency. Well, nobody trusts you. That's why it hasn't gained any adoption. It's not redeemable in actual gold. So nobody believes that you actually have the gold. Once again, when you track and trace all this, And you can use this now, obviously, with the chips and everything. To literally, you could physically track the gold. You know, put a little NFC chip on a pallet of gold that's, whatever it is, and you would actually be able to show the GPS location of said gold. You could put it on the blockchain for everybody to see, your proof of reserves. And this is where I think this goes. Same thing's happening right now when you look at natural gas, oil reserves, gas supplies, other commodities, gold, and other critical minerals. And this is where I want to see other currencies be able to get away from the abuse of the US dollar. I want to see, as an American, our currency get saved and backed by real value, whether that's just backing it by gold, backing it by XRP. I think, folks would call us crazy for suggesting such a thing. That's fine. We get called crazy all the time. Could it be a solution for these central banks? Could it be a solution for these commercial banks? They better find something. And like I said, we know they've been buying gold. This is why gold has gone to new all-time highs and is still climbing. There are still buyers right now. Now, I saw Peaky said, Zach, I sold my gold at all-time high. I always had 2027 as the goal for XRP. I got 1.2 invested between my family and listeners to my not financial advice. I have to deal with this on a daily basis. Sleeping is fun. You got 1.2 what? Peaky, you getting all your friends and family into XRP? Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, because when things go up, they love you. When things chop sideways for a year or two or 3 or 4, or 5 or 6, which brings me to another point, which is, XRP is not going to miss this bull run. This is why I'm saying I'm not looking for these assets to just go smash past their all-time highs and just go, 5, 10x past their previous all-time highs. Now, maybe that can happen for assets like XRP that have been suppressed. But, when I look at some of these other assets, I'm looking across all these other cryptos, and I'm just looking at, man, that's an easy 5x if it just goes back to its previous all-time high. That's a 10-bagger if it just goes back to its all-time high. That gets me really excited, right? And so that's where I'm at right now. I want to hear from you guys out in the chat tonight. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. But Peaky, I think it's a great point. Zach, I need your shirt. Yeah, this is the XRP Bronx Army. Got this from one of our community members. XRP Bronx Army. I need to make it over to New York. You know what 1.2 means, don't play? Oh, goodness gracious, Peaky. I knew it. I wasn't sure. I should have known. That's how deep our conviction goes. And I tell you what, I think as long as that we all have an understanding of where we're at on the timeline, right? There's a part of this XRP investment that just doesn't happen in an environment without regulations, and where these institutions can really just let it go and build it up and let it flow on these DLT solutions, right? We're not seeing XRP at these big high prices based off of retail buyers coming in at 5, 10 and pushing us to 10, 20, 50, and $100 XRP. Retail's not taking us there. Now, back-end systems, which are front-end retail users, but on the back-end settle up wholesale, that can take us there. That's what we expect to take us there. It's just a matter of how many of these markets, how much of these flows will move on DLT technology. And then we're making our bet on which platforms are going to get the lion's share, of what's coming on to DLT technology. When I look at XRP, when I look at Bitcoin, those are two that are treated as reserve currencies. There are none others. Ethereum, it's a tough case. Yes, you need to hold it as a reserve to use it, so one could make the case and the argument as long as, Ethereum is being used, that it will be held as a reserve. And the staking there, you got to give credit where credit's due. When you get a free pass from the SEC and our government, and you're allowed to get taken care of like that, right, and allowed to thrive, then sure. There's plenty of people that have built. We've seen plenty of institutions that are building on Ethereum. It sucks. It's very expensive. In fact, it's turning many of them away from Ethereum, and they're building on layer 2s. And now I think the big reveal that's coming at Ripple Swell Conference this month is going to be just all of the real world asset tokenization coming to the XRP ledger. The DeFi XRP ecosystem is about to explode. And the DeFi ecosystem on the XRP ledger is exploding on layer 1. It's not on layer 2 like Ethereum. This is the big difference. It's exploding on a platform where the native asset we know is not a security. Are all these layer 2s a security? Are these platforms that are proof of stake a security? Are mining pools a security? Well, according to the SEC, everything's a security, right? This is what brings us here, is that everything's a security. Don't get shaken out. BRICS are using XRP. No, it's a great point. I made the playlist BRICS loves XRP. I need to update that because more and more countries that are joining BRICS already have XRP settlement live in their country. It's not that the country or their central bank has come out and said, oh, XRP is our chosen settlement token. It's just that banks and institutions within these countries are already flowing liquidity through XRP, and that's only expanding as Ripple is now dominating in MENA, dominating in APAC, ready to dominate in the United States of America, in the Western Hemisphere. Now that we're getting legislation, is Tether coming into compliance with MiCA in Europe? No. Is Ripple going to be in compliance? Absolutely. And what I'm interested to see is how many other stablecoins Ripple issues. They're going to issue a euro, yen. This is where we're at right now. Yep. Comments, questions, keep them coming. Appreciate you guys. Learning is part of investing. You even learn crypto law. No, see, this is where I think so many people are missing the legal due diligence across all of their investments. It's easier. You don't have to do as much legal due diligence on your investments in these other sectors because there's clarity, there's precedent, and everybody has a real understanding of the rules of the road. And you understand what disclosures to look for. In the crypto land, in the crypto world over here, it's a lack of transparency. There are no disclosures other than, roadmaps are put out, which, how valuable is a roadmap when these crypto companies just pivot time and time again? Even Ripple's expanded. I don't think that they've pivoted. I think they've expanded. I think a lot of folks try to say that Ripple's pivoted because they're failing. I look at it as expansion because they're having success, but there's also other opportunity, and they have cash. If they want to go launch Ripple Custody, it's not something that they have to start from the ground up like they started their whole company with, over 10 years ago, with just a few guys ground up from the very beginning. It's like, no, we want to launch custody. Let's go buy Medico. It's going to cost us a couple $100 million. We can cut that check. We need a trust license. Oh, hey, Standard Custody and Trust and PolySign and the conglomerate that is PolySign and the various entities that made up that company or suite of companies, I should say. Let's go buy Standard Custody and Trust and get us a trust license in New York. Ripple could cut that check. And so now Ripple has a custody platform, and you guys saw what Monica Long and Ripple put out this week. Monica Long said it's now the de facto solution for businesses looking to have Ripple, custody their assets. To get into the digital asset space, Ripple's the de facto custody solution. XRP will have everything. Why use ETH when fees are so high and slower? XRP now has smart contracts also, custodians for banks, etc. Ethereum will be pushed out. Well, it's not just XRP either that's taking Ethereum's lunch. It's 1,000. It's literally 10,000 plus different cryptos. Now, how many of them are serious and an actual threat to Ethereum? There's probably only a few dozen that are a real threat to Ethereum, but they're taking significant market share from Ethereum. We're talking about Solana and others. Ripple will challenge JPM, become a bank, in my opinion. And Dennis, thank you for the super chat. I was just thinking about that the other day too. All of this conversation, all these folks, all the Ripple haters and the XRP fudsters trying to say that Ripple's not working with banks. Well, funny enough, Ripple just became better than a bank, essentially. See, not only are they offering custody, but they're offering it through a trust company that's more reliable than a bank that lends out against your deposits. There is no fractional reserve lending at a trust company like Ripple's doing. You put it in their company, they're going to hold it there. They're going to allow you to leverage it, but they're not going to lend out against your deposits, right? This is the difference between a trust company and a bank. So Ripple became better than a bank. And as I said in my very first TikTok that I ever made, my very first piece of social media content that was crypto, I said that we shouldn't compare Ripple to a central bank because they're even bigger than a central bank. They're not just serving one country, they're serving the entire world. As Greg Kidd described it, it's an intergalactic world reserve currency. So we're not just serving the whole planet. We're not just bigger than a central bank. We're bigger than the IMF or the BIS, I guess, because we're going intergalactic with it too. Now, I don't know why Greg Kidd would say such a crazy thing. I don't know why Greg Kidd would invest so much in XRP and invest so much in Ripple. I guess when you're one of the first 10 employees at Ripple, you get an inside scoop at where this thing's going. Ripple Financial Superstore. That's exactly it. Got a little bit of everything. And what gets interesting for me too is Ripple's going to have a unique advantage as a stablecoin issuer because they don't have to rely on anybody else to be a custodian of the reserves. And they don't have to expose themselves. This is why Tether's not coming into compliance with MiCAs because they don't want to hold dollars in bank accounts. Now, some people worry or speculate that that's because they don't have the dollars, they don't have the reserves. But even if they did, Tether's CEO making a pretty strong case saying, hey, you guys aren't solvent. This banking system's not solvent. I can't put 50 billion of reserves in a bank account. Look at what happened when Circle put billions in Silvergate. And then when the banking crisis happened in 2023, Silvergate went bust. Circle had over 3 billion of collateral exposure. Tether has a good point. Do they have the reserves? I don't know. But they have a good point. It's funny. It's like Tether's exposing the system themselves. And in fact, that's why I believe that, our government is allowing Tether to operate in the way that they are. Because Tether's basically just focusing outside of Europe and outside the United States, where they're outside the jurisdiction. And what are they doing? They're getting more people exposure to the US dollar, which our government needs. Our Federal Reserve needs, our Treasury needs. Our government needs this to continue surviving. We need to be able to fund our government by issuing 10 trillion worth of bonds, which is what the expectations were for this year. I don't know how far they've gotten along with that, but for those of you guys that remember at the beginning of this year, they were talking about issuing $10 trillion worth of bonds this year. We need people to hold this as a reserve. We need Tether to have 160 it's 160 billion for the overall stablecoin market cap. I think that Tether's at 100 billion right now. RLUSD will crush other stables. And that's the thing, Dennis, is we're going to be tapped into the DEX. That was one of the key points that Ripple highlighted in this new blog post talking about Ripple custody and them being the de facto custody solution, is that their custody solution taps into the XRP Ledger DEX. And they're going to be making it easy. You want to tokenize any form of value on the XRP Ledger? Partner up with us. We can hold the collateral in our trust company. You can actually trust us. We have a trust license in New York. And then we're going to help you access and issue the tokens on the XRP ledger. It'll be a seamless process, similar to our private ledger solution, which allows central banks to issue a CBDC on the XRP ledger in one day. Folks forget about when David Schwartz said that one. Oh, yeah. Has anybody else made a solution that streamlines the process for creating a CBDC on the ledger in one day? I don't know anybody that's done that for Ethereum. Nobody's done that for Bitcoin. Nobody's done that for any other blockchain. It's only been done for the private ledger that Ripple created that will have interoperability with the mainnet XRP ledger, the public ledger. And as David Schwartz said, XRP is always XRP. XRP on another chain, XRP on a private ledger, that's wrapped XRP. So XRP is going to be the same price wherever, it's traded is, XRP is always going to be XRP. There is no separate price on the private ledger. Many people confused about that point too. Are they testing different things on a private ledger? Are they running different tests and simulations? That could absolutely be done. It's a private environment where we can't track all that they're doing. But the point being, central bankers sit down with Ripple, over a couple dozen have, and what does Ripple get to pitch them on? If you sign here, we can help you issue a CBDC on the XRP ledger in one day, and you'll have interoperability with every other currency in the world. You'll have interoperability with every other issued asset that comes onto the XRP ledger at no cost, settlement in 3 to 5 seconds. And now when Ripple's having the conversation, they can offer the custody solution. And now when Ripple's having the conversation, they can offer the stablecoin on-ramp. Absolutely critical. The stablecoin on-ramp, absolutely critical. They want to dip their toes into the water with the stablecoin. And then eventually they learn the secret sauce XRP. Eventually they learn that the XRP ledger does have programmability. So smart contracts, right now, we have a hub and spoke model with the XRP ledger ecosystem, where mainnet XRP ledger doesn't have smart contract functionality. We have limited programmability, limited functionality. We don't have full smart contracts. But you have Zahao, hooks, you have Evernode, you have Corium, you have a bunch of other blockchains, you have the EVM sidechain, you have Acceler that's creating a bridge to 55 other different blockchains. This is why I describe it as a hub and spoke model. Mainnet XRP ledger is the hub, and all of the spokes are all the different smart contract platforms that are tapped into the XRP ledger. The conversations have begun for bringing smart contracts to mainnet, but that's a thing that would take time. That would be a process that would take a considerable amount of time, and it might not even happen. Right now, it's happening with individual amendments being issued and brought live, which bring different levels of programmability. You don't need to overcomplicate this ledger, I don't think, to be able to have full programmability and access to be able to do whatever you want and always be able to come back to that XRP ledger for liquidity, which is the real kicker for using XRP. Folks are worried about the stablecoin replacing XRP. Folks are worried about something else replacing XRP. As long as we can get the assets issued on the XRP ledger, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, whether it's bonds, whether it's just other issued tokens, as long as we can get the activity on the XRP ledger, we will see growth. Why is SUI, S-U-I, why is it pumping right now so hard? Because it's doing more volume than Solana. And this is what's happened here, is that this meme crowd, this degenerate crowd, call them whatever you want. I make fun of them. But what's happening, some of them are making money. 90% don't. But the in crowd, the VCs, the early investors, they go from Ethereum to all the layer 2s that they launched on Ethereum, to Solana, to all the tokens that launch on Solana, to now Sui and all the tokens that are going to launch on Sui. And they're just hopping from one group to another. And this is a crypto cabal, all the way from big VCs that kind of stay hidden, all the way down to low-level influencers on TikTok, on X, and on YouTube. And I'm streaming all three on all three of those platforms here tonight. And I've been calling out these clowns for the past 4 years. And they're clowns at worst that don't understand what they're a part of. And at the higher level, this is one of the most sophisticated operations that's ever been done in the investing world. Just look at what the FBI did by creating their own token. And they arrested, some 16 or 18 individuals and entities, including 3 different market makers. This was a token that the FBI created, copy-paste smart contract. Issue a token, get you the influencers, get you the market makers. We're going to spoof the trading. It's going to be completely rigged. We'll have TikToks made. We'll pump it on Instagram. Now they implement the bots. We'll have bots shilling this token in YouTube comments, in TikTok comments, in X. We'll try to infiltrate my private community, pay to get access to my Discord to try to come in and shill. These guys are willing to go to incredible lengths. But the crypto cabal that I'm talking about, though, they're pretty out in the open. It's pretty easy to see. They got it really exposed with Polygon. Was everybody in love with Polygon? No. They were all in love with the 5- and 6-figure checks that they were getting to shill Polygon. It's easy to love something when you're getting paid $100,000 per month to shill it. And think about that. If they're willing to invest that much money to shill these tokens, think about what they're making on the back end. This was incredible. It came out that they were spending hundreds of thousands and overall hundreds of millions of dollars on these campaigns. And funny enough, the FBI finally smartened up and made themselves a little honeypot. And actually, I joke, but I don't think that this is the first, and I don't think it's going to be the last. I think that the government's in many of these Discord groups. I think that the government's watching all of these guys. Anybody that can get significant traction on these platforms, I believe, is being watched. I believe that we're probably being watched because I'm one of the most critical of the SEC and our bureaucracy beast. But tell me where we're wrong. Please dispute our facts, our claims. Please dispute them. You know? And so, remember when the Bitcoin bros were laughing at little Palau getting hooked up? Ha ha ha, where the heck is Palau? Well, who laughs now? Go Palau. That was a government that decided to launch a token, a stable coin, on the public XRP ledger. That was hilarious. And you know how they coped with that one? Because they always find a reason to cope. They said, oh, this was in a central bank. Right. You're right. Palau doesn't have a central bank. They have a Ministry of Finance. And we interviewed Jay. Huge shout out to Jay. We had him on the show from the Ministry of Finance. We had one of their representatives. That was a pleasure. Speaking with a member of a government that gets it. Let's lean into this technology. Let's run a test on the public mainnet. Who cares? Right? And the kicker, it was a US dollar-backed stablecoin on the public XRP ledger. And what were the reviews? Absolutely raving reviews. The only reason why the transaction sometimes didn't take 3 to 5 seconds is because the internet is not adequate there or comparable to what we have in other regions of the world. They're still laying fiber optic cables. That was one of the things that Jay Hunter Anson actually talked about on my show, is that right now they're getting 5G fiber optic cable. I don't know if it's 5G, but they're getting fiber optic cables brought to the islands. And it's a series of dozens, maybe even hundreds of islands that make up the nation of Palau. But that was how the Bitcoin bros and the XRP haters coped with that one, is they tried to clarify all of us. Oh, that's not a central bank. It's not a CBDC on the public XRP ledger. You're right. It's a stable coin, but it is a legitimate government. It's an island nation that's basically I don't want to call them a puppet of the United States, but they are very favorable with the United States, and they use the US dollar as their currency for trade. These are people that take a boat to the next island over to go to the bank to get out cash so that they can go buy their groceries. And the reviews came back incredible. Incredible. And the thing about it, too, is that they just announced a new bond, I believe it was. Somebody was just commenting about that. They just did a bond, but they didn't do that one on the XRP ledger. And this is what happens in the XRP community, along with other crypto communities, by the way. A lot of the times we live in the XRP community and we think that it's just us. There's a bunch of drama and a bunch of stupid crap that happens in all these other crypto projects as well. Some folks said, oh, this is Plow launching a bond and they've already worked with Ripple. Is this on the XRP ledger? And then all these guys come out of the woodworks. Oh, this bond isn't issued on the XRP ledger. It's issued on Ethereum. And they get all excited. Like, yeah, you're right. But the Plow stablecoin that they did trial earlier this year was on the public blockchain XRP ledger. You can go see the transactions for yourself. I remember going and verifying it myself. But these guys, they literally built their whole life on attacking XRP for some reason. And it's funny because it's like they're the operatives on the lower level that just don't even understand what they're a part of. It's like many government employees, right? They're part of a bigger bureaucracy beast, and they themselves might not be terrible people or evil people, right? But they're part of a bigger system, a bigger machine, just going about executing the orders that they've been given. Thankfully, right now we're starting to have major victories, not only in actually in the courts, but in the court of public opinion, which is almost just as equally important, where folks are seeing the hypocrisy. This is why, it's money wasted, because I don't think that Kamala actually stands a chance of winning the election. So Chris Larson donating $1 million of XRP to Kamala, you might as well have just black-holed it. You might as well have just burned the XRP, right? But, because she's not going to be elected. But what I do appreciate is the fact that it forces the conversation. It forces the issue. Now, Ripple gets to go around. And like I said, I want to, Ripple right now, if I was on their comms team, if I was on their marketing team, Chris Larson already would have been scheduled. The day that that announcement was made, he already would have been on CNN and MSNBC. And they need something to talk about. Obviously, they're full of election cycle news. But if they want to tout that they're having a crypto reset, if the Democrats want to say that they're going to do something different and that we should trust me, bro, with the Kamala campaign and the crypto reset that they're talking about, then Chris Larson should have been on CNN and MSNBC already. The Democrats should have done it from a campaign perspective, and Ripple should be doing it from a get the word out perspective. Now, maybe Chris Larson doesn't want to do it because he'd actually have to go on camera and talk about why he would support Kamala, which is one of the most hilarious things ever. A guy who, when XRP goes to just a few bucks, would have over $1 trillion of unrealized losses, would support a campaign that wants to implement, unrealized capital gains. It's crazy to think that he would support a politician that's running on a campaign of issuing, unrealized capital gains tax. Brilliant move by Larson and Ripple. Dennis, I think it is. I just think that we got to double down. It's like, if we're going to do it, let's do it. But maybe Chris doesn't want to actually get on camera and have to explain his position. Because how does anybody explain that position at this point, right? Can anybody explain that position right now? No. But that guy's bad. That guy makes me offended. That guy makes me upset. I don't like how he talks. Or they come up with some other story. How do you force disclosure on XRP? And in this morning's update, I talked about, I don't think that XRP is going to be quite the disclosure that UFOs and aliens are. But you were called a whack job crazy, for talking about aliens or UFOs. Now we're having congressional testimony. Now all this stuff's coming out. Elon Musk doesn't believe in aliens, though. He says, or at least he says that he hasn't encountered any. What do they have? 6,000 satellites now in near Earth, low Earth, low orbit. Elon doesn't believe in the aliens. How do you force disclosure, though? Got it on CNBC. That's great. Yeah, that's right. So CNBC already covered it. I'm sure that Fox will cover it. Charlie Gasparino needs something to talk about. Charlie should already be talking about it. See, I've been talking about this, though. I really think, and gosh, I shouldn't even talk politics because you just get in trouble either way you go. I just think from a campaign perspective, like I criticized the Trump campaign earlier in tonight's episode, so you can't just say that I'm not willing to criticize. I think that it's terrible that Trump's doing the endorsement of this World Liberty Financial. I don't think the risk reward ratio isn't there. We don't need that exposure. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe it'll work out. I hope it does. But I don't think it's necessary, and I think that it's a bad campaign decision. Just like I think that, what the Democrats are doing from the presidential campaign, right? I'm not talking about local elections. I know some people, too, in my earlier video wanted to tell me, I said that John Deaton's about to go take out Elizabeth Warren, and I keep on saying that John Deaton's going to take out Elizabeth Warren because I'm trying to speak that into existence, even though I know the polls that I don't trust, but the polls do show that Elizabeth Warren is winning. And in other races, I think that the Democrats are doing a little bit better, but I'm specifically talking about the presidential campaign. I think that the Democrats' presidential campaign has been one of the most poorly ran presidential campaigns yet in the history of politics. I'd be curious to hear anybody counter that argument. I don't think that you can miss on so many points over and over again. I just think it's not just crypto. It's Timmy Walls trying to show, oh, I'm one of the common guys. I'm just one of the guys out here pheasant hunting. And the dude clearly is out of place. Can't even load a shotgun. Now, the America that I come from, just about everybody can load the shotgun, including wifey. Men, women, and children. But Timmy, twitching. We didn't see. We didn't confirm if he even shot any pheasants. Kamala, drinking cheap beer out of a can. God bless it. That's what I'm doing tonight. My Stanley mug that keeps my adult beverage cold was in the dishwasher, so I had to. I got a cheap cup filled with cheap beer. But don't play us stupid. Don't play us dumb. Having the beer on the late night talk show, it's not landing. Whoever's making this campaign decision, I think, is failing. Play the video of Tim. Oh, goodness gracious. Stu, you're going to get me in trouble. You're going to get me in trouble. Here's the video.
Yeah. That's my theory. And it never fits quite
right.
Oh,
Timmy.
It fits quite right. Just not
That's a
right.
tough
How do
one.
you give it back?
There you go.
What kind of gun is it?
This is a Beretta A400.
Oh, he knows what kind of gun it is.
I bought it when I was shooting a lot of trap.
Oh, yeah.
It has a kind of their patented thing, a kickoff. So when you get old, it doesn't hurt your shoulder as much.
That's somebody skit that up on TikTok, please. That's the classic line to say. Oh, yeah, got a little extra padding there on the stock. Saves the shoulder when you get older. Every old guy that I've shot guns with says that. That's actually good. That's good. Whoever fed Timmy that line, that was good. It's just that we should have practiced actually putting a few shells in before we got on camera. Timmy. Oh, Timmy. Peaky says I can't send a super chat anymore. Peaky, did we cut you off tonight? Peaky, we cut you off. Dang, we've already been live for an hour and a half. I've been, that's the thing is I always rant too long and I forget to even drink my adult beverage. Oh, Timmy. Of course, I see now I got the learn more about the U.S. elections tag on my TikTok live stream. Like I said, I criticize both parties. I'm criticizing both campaigns in tonight's stream. This Trump one has me worried, guys. Guys and gals out there tonight, let me know what you guys think. What do you think about this Trump coin? Are you guys going to be buying it? I'm very interested to see how they do the whitelist, this token launch. I'm really interested to see how they do it. Because they're kind of going to, force the hand of the SEC, right? If they do some sort of investment contract, they're going to force the hand of the SEC. Gary Gensler's got to be just waiting. And wouldn't that be something? A final action from Gary Gensler. Before Trump gets elected and fires him, Gary Gensler sues World Liberty Financial. Picky, I don't know why you can't super chat, though. That's funny. I don't know. I swear I didn't throttle you back. Zach, we're almost there, brother. Us XRP Army will be the chosen few. Let's go drink one for me working. I appreciate the hustle. Wherever you guys are tuning in from tonight, I appreciate the hustle. Or if you're just sitting back and enjoying your Saturday night like I am, I appreciate you for spending the time here with me. What a pleasure here. Look at this community, guys. Look at this community. I see 400 here on YouTube. That means we're probably about 1,800 on X. We got a nice little small crowd of 90 with us on TikTok. Pushing 2,300, 2,400 listeners with us tonight at the moment. What an absolute blessing to be here with you guys here. Who's going to change Trump's diaper in jail? Chad just got off work. There you go. You know what's funny? You guys will appreciate this. One of my father's friends actually is, well, I got to be careful. Actually, I said too much already. I got to be careful here because I don't want to dox this guy. I know a guy, friends with the guy, who happens to be a sheriff. I can't say what state, but he's a sheriff. And he was telling me that he couldn't wait. He couldn't wait. He was going to be the one to throw the handcuffs on Trump. He was telling me about some case that was going to be brought against him. And we were joking about it, having ourselves an adult beverage. And I was telling him either he was out of his mind. I said, you might be able to get him. You might be able to arrest him, but I don't think you're going to be able to make it stick. And he was telling me, oh, no, it's going to be me. It's going to be me to throw the cuffs on him. And he maybe said a few other explicitives. But see, this is the America that I love. This is the world that I want, is where two folks who don't agree can, enjoy each other's company. Enjoy an adult beverage. Enjoy a moment. Laugh about it. Have a good time. And still shake hands and hug and wish each other health, blessings, and wealth when you walk away. Peaky, we cut you off, brother. Zach, do you think it's okay to leave XRP holdings with Uphold instead of a personal wallet? By the way, let's go rapid fire Q&A. You guys can drop them. I'll try to go through rather quickly. Great question. For me, I'm diversified amongst exchanges. I'm diversified amongst wallets. I'm diversified amongst banks. I'm diversified amongst assets. I'm diversified in my businesses. I have multiple sources of revenue for each business. That's how I diversify. I have trust issues with, when it comes to my investments, when it comes to relying on any one source of income, one source of revenue. When I look at, banks, I got a couple. Wallets, got plenty. Exchanges. For XRP specifically, I'm working with 3 exchanges. That's going to be Uphold, that's going to be Coinbase, and that's going to be Caleb and Brown. I'm excited to have Caleb and Brown. I just added them. And if you guys haven't been set up with Caleb and Brown, I would consider. There's a link in the description down below. It's absolutely free to get set up. And they have a personalized service with institutional grade custody and access to a 24/7 broker who can work with you, who can help you. If you need someone to hold your hand, you're new in the crypto space, they offer a really unique service. But the main reason why I'm excited to have some of my XRP on their platform is just because I'm hoping and praying that when XRP goes to a new all-time high and I go to sell some of it, that my orders get executed. That's why I want options. I want options because I don't want to be overexposed to any one exchange, but I want options for getting me liquidity when it does come time to sell. So I have XRP on Uphold, Coinbase, and Caleb and Brown is my most recent platform that I've hooked up with. That's giving me options. I would do more exchanges, but I only have so many options where I live. Not just in the United States of America, but the state that I'm in sucks for many reasons. A lot of good stuff. We're too blessed up here. It's just ridiculous. Guys, it was literally, we went to the pumpkin patch. I was hot. Sun was out and it was 67 and daddy was sweating a little bit. The dad bod, these days I get, moving a little bit, chasing around the kids around the pumpkin patch. 67 degrees. I was getting a little sweat going, a little hot. I was ready for, an adult beverage. Cold one. That's the middle of October and we're still hitting 67. Oh, I think it was almost 70 actually up here in the Pacific Northwest. So that's great. Great weather. Terribly ran state. Don't get me started. And for crypto exchanges, very limited options. But I've always said I like to have multiple wallets, multiple exchanges, bank accounts, sources of income. You get the point. Amen. Get your LLC in order, XRP, PG. That's a great point. And by the way, guys, if you want my full XRP exit strategy, my full plan, I've put it together. It's a 25-minute video. You can get access to that on my Patreon. You don't have to sign up for a monthly membership. If you do, you get everything that's included in the monthly membership and access to this XRP exit strategy. But if you want to just buy the XRP exit strategy as a standalone, I've made it available as a product that you can purchase on my Patreon. It's pretty cool, actually. Patreon, they just made it so you can actually sell products, including merch, including individual, pieces of content, along with the monthly membership. So if you want to join our family, our community, you can. But if you also just want to get access to my XRP exit strategy, it's a 25-minute breakdown in detail, which exchanges I'm using, what prices I'm selling XRP at, why I'm selling, and the 3 different things that I'm going to be doing with my XRP profits. I lay it all out, and you can take that as not investment advice, but you can take that as an example, as a template, and actually provided a template on how I look at my balance sheet with my investment portfolio and how I did that before I created my XRP exit strategy, because you got to understand where you're at, where you're going before you decide why you're selling XRP at $5 or $10, right? So that's available. But Peaky, to your point about getting your house in order, the LLCs in order, one of the next products that I'm going to be working on, I talked about this in the Discord weekly call this week, is actually going to be a checklist. It's going to be a complete checklist all the way from prepping to your job, your income or your business, to your investments, to your relationships in your community. It's going to be kind of just the full, complete checklist. As we go into fall, I find that folks have a lot more time. The kids are in school. Folks have a little bit more time on their hands. We're spending more time inside versus outside. And so folks can take more time to kind of get their house in order. And now I think is a great time, also because we're heading into the next phase of this bull run. So while you have time to prepare your entities for trading crypto, that's one of the things that I'm doing right now as well. Because in the state that I live in, we just got a capital gains tax where if you realize more than $262,000 profit in 1 year, anything over that, you pay an additional 7% capital gains tax. I'm not going to do that. Okay. So Governor Jay Inslee, just don't get me started. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So for me, what I'm looking at doing right now is I can sell up to 262,000 here in this state, but setting up entities outside the United States for holding crypto. When I move my assets to that entity, I will still have that tax basis of whatever price I bought that XRP at. So I still will pay capital gains tax, but it'll be long-term capital gains tax because it'll be XRP that I held longer than a year. And I won't have to pay an additional capital gains tax to the state of Washington. That's where I live at. So what I'm going to be doing is if we, go up to our targets this bull run, I will sell up to and realize $262,000 profit here in this state, but I will not realize 1 penny more because I refuse to give any of that to the state of Washington. That's why I'm looking at setting up entities outside of this state, among other reasons like additional asset protection and anonymity that is provided with LLCs in other states, along with other different trusts and different corporations. But right now is the time to be figuring this out, not when XRP is at all-time high and everybody's going crazy and all we want to do is have an XRP party. And we're trying to figure out whose yacht we're going to go have a party on. What city we're going to go party in next. What we're going to do at that moment. We should already have that laid out. When you have your house in order, when you've gone through your full checklist, and then you can execute those trades, you can execute those allocations, you can execute that plan when the time comes, that's going to allow us to go have fun at the party. See, you don't want to go to the party until after you've conducted your business. We want our house to be in order. We want our moat established and dug out and built before we have a party. We want our moat built around our castle. We want it to be well insulated and protected before we go out to the party. Right? Now is the time to figure that out. Unrealized capital gains will never fly. It will never go through. Andy, I agree. I think that it's crazy. I think that it's a part of pandering to folks that don't understand. They're pandering to basically a class of citizen that most of them have been misled in the schools. Our educational system has misled them into thinking that capitalism doesn't work without understanding that we have crony capitalism. We don't have a pure, true capitalism. And so when they see the flaws in our current economic model and system, and they see big banks getting bailed out, they should understand that that's not capitalism. That's socialism. And they're being taught that socialism is the answer. No, we're already getting what would be, policies under a socialist or even a communist government. We're already getting bailouts. It's just that we're getting bailouts while we still pretend like we're living in a capitalist system. And they brainwash the students, they brainwash the classes to be pitted against the wealthy and the business owning class, instead of they themselves learning how to start a business, they themselves learning how to build wealth preserve wealth and not pay taxes legally, just like the rich do. So they're taught that the unrealized capital gains tax should be considered because we get to take from the wealthy and give to the poor. We get to take from the haves and give to the have-nots. What they fail to understand is that even if it were implemented, that wealth would be long gone before it would allow to be realized, before it would be allowed to be collected on, because that wealth would leave the country, as we've seen in other countries that have tried to implement similar measures. As we've seen, as countries with higher corporate tax rates are less appealing to these corporations, which can now easily become global corporations. Just look at Ripple, for example. Ripple could easily have packed up and left the United States already if they wanted to. And they've had all the reason to, right? They easily could have. Just like so many other companies can. The reason why we still get capital and investments coming here is because we've had healthy capital markets, because we've had clear rules of the road. The rule of law is one of the strongest attractions to the United States of America. The rule of law with healthy capital markets is why we have the gold standard of capital markets and why we've had the reserve currency status. People want to come here, people want to invest here, and if they can't come here, if they can't invest here, they still use our US dollars, they still use our reserve currencies, and they still want to invest in American companies, our stock market. If the corporate tax rate increases, we're going to be less appealing. And once again, this is a battle. This is the playing field. We want the playing field to be level, but we also want healthy competition. Healthy competition amongst currencies, healthy competition amongst governments. I want the United States of America to win on a level playing field because we have a currency that's actually backed by strong reserves of real value. I want America capital markets to win because we have healthy environments with a strong rule of law for said capital investments. I want us to win that way on real merits, not just because we can enforce our will through the end of a barrel of a gun. Power just got back on and I can go back to my business. Already got the LLC and silver and cash. Joseph, love to hear that. Are you in Florida? Where are you at? All right, folks, I think I'm going to wrap up this session here tonight. We're approaching 2 hours on tonight's live show. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to be back tomorrow with some more content as well. So if you guys are new here and you appreciate what we're doing, you think this is kind of cool, I don't always do 2-hour long live shows, right? A lot of my content I try to keep as short as possible. I know people are busy these days, but what I try to do is provide updates on a daily basis that wrap up all of the important news from current events, financial markets, and a focus on cryptocurrency in about 10 to 15 minutes. Sometimes I stretch out more towards 20, but I try to keep it 10 to 15, try to condense it. And if you guys appreciate what we're doing, please make sure that you guys have liked this video. Help me out by sharing out our content far and wide. We'll be back tomorrow. Make sure you guys stay tapped in with us. Everything's at ZachRector.com. And I just want to say I really do appreciate all of you guys, whether you're just, doing what's easy right now by liking the video, sharing it out far and wide, whether you guys have joined our private community, whether you're, using our links or our resources. I really do appreciate that, guys. It really does mean the world to me, and it allows me to keep on doing this. We're just getting started, by the way, too. This only gets more exciting as we go into next year, into this next bull run, as we start to see what gets built out over the next 5 to 10 years. This is a relationship with you that I want to build off of trust, off of building real value, and I'm not here to just pump this thing up over the next year and then say goodbye and that's it. This is a relationship that I want to have with you guys for the coming 5, 10 plus years. As long as we get a grace, as long as we're graced with your guys' presence on this planet, I want to have a relationship with you guys, building wealth, preserving wealth, and then being able to do something positive for humanity with that wealth. That's what I'm about. That's why I continue to show up every single day. I don't even view this as work. I enjoy this and love it so much. And you guys are the reason that keep me pushing so hard. And just want to say thank you, and I appreciate all of your support. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the Saturday Night Live. I'll see you guys tomorrow. God bless you all. Thank you so much.